Now we will look at the doctor. We learn to write about a doctor. When do we go to a doctor? When we don't keep well. Now doctors are highly respected any part of the world, everywhere. And there are different kinds of doctors who treat different illness. You have dentists who take care of your teeth. Every part of a body is taken care by different doctors. When you cannot see, you go to an ophthalmologist. Then there are general physicians. There are also doctors who take care of animals. So there are all kinds of different areas in the medical field, in our body, different parts. So each doctor specializes in taking care of that part of your person. So when we are not well, we go to a doctor. Now, sometimes we have a family physician, family doctor. A family doctor directs us, helps us to keep our mind and our body healthy. What to avoid, what to eat, what not to eat. He helps us. If you have pets in the house, we go to a veterinary doctor who will take care of our pets. So today we are going to write a short composition on the doctor. And they say, some people say, when we are really terribly sick, we say, when we pray to God, we'll say, doctors are like God. They touch us and heal us. Now, the doctor. So we're going to write a composition on the doctor. Okay, the doctor. The medical profession is a noble one. All over the globe, any part of the world, people will say the medical profession. The medical profession the medical profession is a noble one. And we often see the doctors are very busy. They work very hard, isn't it? Now, what do the doctors do? Doctors dedicate their life to treating and curing people. So they dedicate their life. They love people. They want the human beings in every part of their body to be fit. So they dedicate their lives to treating and curing people. They dedicate their lives to treating and curing people. When you go to a doctor, when you're not well. So when you go to doctor, what does he do? He sees that you are treated well and you are cured of your illness. He does his best for you. So the medical profession is a noble one. They dedicate their lives. They dedicate their lives to treating and curing people. Now, what kind of people are they, these doctors? They are gentle, kind. What else will you say? Gentle, kind, loving, and caring people. And caring. Some doctors spend a lot of time talking to you, reassuring you. So they are kind, they are gentle, kind, loving, and caring people. Generally, they are nice people. They do their best for you. They are highly respected in society. They are highly respected in society. They're highly respected in society. Then, when we fall sick, we go to a doctor for treatment. So, when do you approach a doctor? When we are sick. When we fall sick. Only when we are sick. Otherwise, we don't think of a doctor. When we fall sick, we need to go to a doctor. Similarly, when animals, our pet animals, our birds, when they fall sick, we take them to a doctor. That's a different doctor. So there are two types of doctors. There are doctors who treat humans. There are doctors who treat birds and animals. They are called veterinary doctors. So when we fall sick, we go to them. Now, what would the doctor do when we go to him? He checks the symptoms and takes care. He checks the symptoms. What are the symptoms? He checks the symptoms. Why are you sick? Where are you sick? He'll ask you many questions. He checks the symptoms and treats us and treats the patients. So you are sick. When we are sick, we need to go to a doctor. When you go to a doctor, what he will do? He checks the symptoms and treat the patients. He'll either give medicine or he will say do some test. In case you are seriously ill, he will ask you to do some medical test. In case of serious illness, what does he do? In case of serious illness, a doctor asks for some medical test. A doctor may ask for some medical test. He'll say, get some tests done. Get some medical test done. And according to that, he will treat the patients. Now, if you happen to have a small injury or an accident, then what does the doctor do? In case of injury, in case of some injuries, the doctor cleans and bandages the area. Injuries, the doctor cleans and bandages the wound. So if you had an accident or some part is injured, what does the doctor do? He cleans and bandages the wound. Then, sometimes you have a family doctor, the family general physician. What does he do? He takes care of our general health. The family. Most families have a family doctor. The family physician takes care takes care of our health. He tells us what and how we can avoid what and how we can avoid illness. Now, in some parts, most people, when we are very badly ill, you say doctors are like gods. They are close to God. They are like gods. Now, there are different types of doctors. There are doctors, there are different, there are different types of doctors. Treating different illness. Different illness. For every illness, there is a doctor. For different animals, there is a doctor. So now let's look at the short composition that we are writing on doctor. When do you go to doctor? When you're not well. What are doctors? Doctors are the medical profession is a noble one. You say the medical, those who go to the medical field, they're supposed to be a noble one. Why? Because they dedicate their life. Any part of the day, any part of the doctors, they're ready to help you. When you call the doctor, he's there all the time. You go to a hospital, whether night or day, there is always different types of doctors sitting there wanting to help you. So the doctor, the medical profession is a noble one. They dedicate their lives to treating and curing people. When people feel ill, you go to a doctor, he is there assuring you, telling you, don't worry, I'm going to make you all right. So you feel all right even before taking medicine. They are gentle, kind, loving, and caring people. They are very nice people. They have very good attitude to make you all right as soon as you go to see a doctor. They are highly respected in society, in any part of the world. The doctors are always respected. When we fall sick, we need to go to a doctor. When we are sick, we need to go to a doctor. He checks the symptoms and treats the patients. First, he will check out and see what's wrong with you. He will check and then he will treat you. In case of serious illness, a doctor may ask for some medical test done. So you have to go and get a medical test done and accordingly he'll treat you. In case of an injury, the doctor cleans and bandages the wound. If there is a wound, he will clean it. He has to stitch, he'll stitch it and he'll bandage. The family physician, what does he do? The family physician takes care of our health. He tells us what and how we can avoid illness. He will advise us what to eat, what not to eat, how to take good care of our health. There are different types of doctors treating different illness. There are also different doctors for human beings, different doctor for birds and animals. So taking care. If you take good care of your health, you don't need a doctor. In case of illness, there we have professionals helping us to become better. Having spoken and written about a doctor, We will now learn to write a short composition on a person who helps a doctor. Who is that? Yes, a nurse. Nurse is a person who constantly assists the doctor. Doctor needs a nurse. Hospital needs a nurse. Now, what does the nurse do? First of all, how does she look? Nurse, what does she wear? Different hospitals have different costumes, colors. Some nursing homes are pink, some are blue, but generally, a nurse wears a white dress. Her headgear is always white. But sometimes you will see detail on the headgear. There will be colored bands to show how old, what seniority she bears. Now, what kind of a person is a nurse? Nurse is a very patient, loving, strong person. And she is there ready all the time. She needs to be alert all the time. What does she do? She helps the doctor in recording the patient's condition, gives injection, take pressures and things like that. In an operation theater, she gives the doctor what he needs to do his job. Overall, the nurse takes care of the patient on daily basis. So we're going to write a short composition on life of a nurse. Actually, it's very difficult. A nurse's life is very tough. She works for long hours. She has to do night duty. She has to take constant steps in supporting the doctor, taking care on daily, hourly, weekly basis the patients who are critically ill. So, life of a nurse. That's what we are going to write. A short composition on life of a nurse. A nurse. Life of a nurse. Where does the nurse work? A nurse works in a hospital or a nursing home. A nurse works in a hospital. A nurse works in a hospital. What does she do? How does she look now? Very important, the look of a nurse. She looks very smart in white uniform and a lovely headgear. Okay, so a nurse works in a hospital. She looks. Everybody likes to look at a nurse. She looks very smart. She looks very smart in her white uniform, pure white uniform. What else? That's not enough. White uniform and headgear. A nurse works in a hospital. She looks very smart in her white uniform and headgear. Okay? Then, what is she when you look at a nurse? She's a symbol of service. She's all the time serving. So, she is a symbol of service and humility. Very humble person. A nurse works in a hospital. She looks very smart in a white uniform and headgear. She is a symbol of service and humility. In humble service, she takes care of the patients. She doesn't make a noise. What else when you look at a nurse? She bears a beautiful smile. She's all the time smiling. She bears a beautiful smile all the time. And that's what makes the patient all right fast. All the time. That's what people like. People like the nurse because she's there, ready to serve with a smile. What does she do? She assists, she tends patients in the wards and she assists doctor. That is her main job. Her main job is she assists. Wherever the doctor goes, she has to go looking at bed, patient, bed after bed. So she assists doctors. She assists doctor and tends to patients and takes care of, tends, okay? And tends to patients. Now, life of a nurse. A nurse works in a hospital. She looks very smart in a white uniform and headgear. She's a symbol of service and humility. She bears a beautiful smile all the time. She assists doctors and tends to patients. Okay, that is what she does. Okay, now her job is very tough. Okay, the next is her job is very tough. Her job is very tough. Working long hours. She has to work long hours. Working long hours. She also has to do night duties. She has also to do night duty. We are talking about the life of a nurse. She works in a hospital. She looks smart in a white uniform and a headgear. She's a symbol of service and humility. She bears a beautiful smile all the time. She assists doctors and tends to patients. Her job is very tough, working long hours. And she has also to do night duty. So her life is very difficult, very tough. The nurse's life is very tough. She has to remain alert all the time. At all time. She has to be kept alert and she has to be very, very cautious. What's going on? Okay. She has to remain. She has to remain alert all the time, not simply little while. She has to remain alert all the time. That's the life of a nurse. She has to remain alert all the time. Then, in case of emergency, she has to call on the doctor. Okay? In case of emergency, she quickly calls the doctor. In case of emergency, she quickly calls the doctor. Okay? So her life is very tough. Her job is very tough. She works long hours. She has to do night duty. She has to remain alert all the time. In case of emergency, she quickly calls the doctor on duty. Doctor on duty. All right? The doctor on duty. Now, what kind of a person is this nurse? A nurse is a hardworking and selfless person, like an angel looking after the patients. So, what does she do? She is a hardworking. She's a hardworking and selfless. And selfless. She's a hardworking and a selfless person, like an angel, taking care of the patients, like an angel taking care of her patients. So what kind of a person the nurse? She is a hardworking and selfless person, like an angel taking care of her patients. Okay? Now, her kindness is huge, and she helps the patients to get well soon. It is her kindness. She is kind. She is kind to her. She is kind to her patients. Why is she kind? So they get better. She is kind to her patients, and this helps them to get better. This helps them to get well soon. All right. Now, she is a devoted person to the humanity. What kind of a person she is? She is a devoted person to the society, to the humanity. She's a devoted person to the humanity. So thus we wrote a small composition on life of a nurse. Life of a nurse. A nurse works in a hospital. She looks very smart in her white uniform and headgear. She is a symbol of service and humility. She bears a beautiful smile all the time. She assists doctors and tends to patients. Her job is very tough. Working long hours, she has also to do night duty. She has to remain alert all the time. In case of emergency, she quickly calls on the doctor on duty. She is a hardworking and selfless person, like an angel, taking care of her patients. She is kind to her patients, and this helps them to get well soon. She is devoted person to the humanity. So we learn to write about the life of a nurse, how she looks and how hard she works to get her patients better.